How to solve double integrals. Part 1. Rectangular regions. At the end of the video, there will be a small challenge question for you to do, so make sure to watch the full thing. Whenever we have a complicated problem, it's always a good idea to consider something simpler and then build our way from there. So let's turn our attention to single integrals for a minute. We typically have a function y is equal to f of x, and we have the definite integral f of x dx from a to b. So x, the independent variable here, would range from a to b, and this would be the region of integration. The result of the definite integral would be what we call a signed area, meaning that while area is a positive quantity physically, the area given by the definite integral can be negative in case the graph is below the x-axis. So this area, which can potentially be negative, is what we call a signed area. So, for example, if we had an arbitrary graph of f of x like this one, x will range from a to b, and this would be the area given by the definite integral above. Okay, so that's the case for single integrals. How about double integrals? We have one extra dimension, so how do things change? We have a multivariable function now. Z is a function of x and y. So x and y are both inputs, and z is the output. And the double integral is represented like this. Two integral signs, f of xy dA. So this dA is a differential change in each of the two inputs. So we have a differential length x and a differential length y, and these will multiply to give you a differential rectangular area dA. So dA is dx times dy. So we can replace dA in the integral by dx dy. Now R, the region we're integrating over, is not one-dimensional anymore. It's not just a range of x values, it's a range of x values as well as y values. Now, in case of rectangular regions, which is the focus of our discussion today, x will range from a constant to another, and y will range from another constant to another. So x from a to b, y from c to d. This is the region of integration, and as you can see, it's two-dimensional. So it's not a region in the x-axis anymore. It's now a region in the xy plane. So the double integral can be expressed like this. The integral of f of xy dx dy, and we'll have two integral signs, each with its own boundaries. Notice that the order is important. If we write dx first, then the inner integral will have the bounds of x, a to b, and the outer integral will have the bounds of y, which are c to d. So the inner differential term will correspond to the inner integral. Always keep that in mind. Now, just as a single integral represents signed area, so does a double integral represent signed volume. So this volume will be the volume under the solid bounded above by f of xy, and it can be negative in case the solid lies below the xy plane. So we're starting to see some similarities with single integrals, except that we have an additional dimension to worry about. Let's take a look at a graph. For example, say we wanted to graph this elliptic paraboloid z equals 16 minus x squared minus 2y squared. Say x ranges from 0 to 2, y ranges from 0 to 3, okay? And we want to find the volume bounded above by this paraboloid and also bounded by the coordinate planes and the planes x equals 2 and x equals 3. So basically this solid over here. To find the volume of this solid, we have to do the double integral of this z, which is a function of x and y, over this rectangular region R. X varies from 0 to 2, y varies from 0 to 3, so we have this rectangular region over which we're integrating. And this is the double integral we have to do. When we integrate with respect to x, which is the inner integral we'll have to do first, we'll hold y constant. So x is our variable. The antiderivative is 16x minus x cubed over 3 minus 2y squared times x. And now we'll plug in the bounds 0 and 2. Notice that when x is equal to 0, everything will vanish, leaving us only with the upper bound, which gives us 32 minus 8 over 3 minus 4y squared. Now we have a simplification to make. 32 minus 8 thirds is 88 thirds. And then we have this simple integral to evaluate with respect to y. This gives us 88 over 3y minus 4 thirds y cubed from 0 to 3. Again, plugging in 0 will cancel everything, so we'll only have to plug in 3. And this works out to be 52. So the volume of the solid we saw earlier is 52 cubic units. And this is an example of a double integral in action. Now here's the challenge question I promised. Say you were to evaluate this integral with the differential terms reversed. So if you were to solve it with dy dx instead of dx dy, would you get the same result? Try it out and let me know what you get.